It's Real Talk's special bonus series, My Favorite Movie. And today's guest, MVP, is here to discuss his favorite film, The Big Lebowski. Now quick, hit like and subscribe before the video starts, because the Hurt Syndicate said so. It's not every day I get to chat movies with not only a dear friend, but a performer and athlete who has spent the last 20 years on TV working all over the world and checking off boxes along the way, like winning major pro wrestling championships in the WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling, becoming a hip-hop recording artist, host and producer of his own podcast. Oh, and tossing a TED Talk in there too. So we had to do something a little bit special. Today is a bonus edition of Real Talk we're calling My Favorite Movie, and I'm incredibly lucky to have the man himself, MVP, in the Jungle studio today to chat one of his favorite movies, The Big Lebowski. Now, if you're not familiar with the 1998 Coen Brothers picture, it's a film that flew under the radar upon its release, largely due to its proximity to the Farrelly Brothers movie Kingpin, which beat the Coens to theaters. Critics were baffled by the evolution of the Coens canon at the time and considered The Big Lebowski a stinker, but thanks to late-night cable reshowings, the movie developed a cult following that could rival any others in the history of film, as annually, in cities all over the U.S., a Lebowski Fest is held. The film is hilariously earnest, purposefully convoluted, and full of characters you either feel like you know, wish you could hang out with, or hope to never run across. I'm incredibly pumped to discuss the film that I truly love and get to the bottom of why The Big Lebowski is MVP's favorite movie. Boss, welcome to the Jungle. Can I get you a sarsaparilla or maybe a Caucasian to kick things off?
Gary, I'll have an oat soda.
You got it. We'll get Margie's around here somewhere. She's one of our interns. She'll get on that. But hey, man, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in.
Man, an opportunity to come and talk to you about quite possibly my all-time favorite movie, The Dude Abides.
You abide, I abide. I feel like dudism is a real thing, and the tenets of dudism are strong in these quarters. Do you remember the first time you saw The Big Lebowski?
Here's the crazy thing about it. I've seen the movie so many times that I honestly don't remember the very first time that I saw it. I've always been a fan of Jeff Bridges, and John Goodman is just a monster when he's on screen. I think I'd probably read about The Big Lebowski before I had actually seen it, and then I think I saw a few parts of it before I sat down and watched it all the way through. I thought, like, man, the dude, what Jeff Bridges brought to the character, the dude, like, that's who I want to be, except with my musical choice being Steely Dan.
I don't know. It's something that, yeah, I certainly have long wished that I could achieve. And
You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
And of course, you mentioned Walter. You mentioned the dude, the trifecta, the dude syndicate, perhaps, if you will. We have Steve Buscemi, who is...
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
I will not ask you who of the Hurt Syndicate of the three is the Donnie of the group. Well, I guess we couldn't, because Donnie's no longer with us, so we'd have to...
No, Donnie moved on. Yeah, done.
Shout out to Folgers. Usually, as is tradition on the show, we talk about plot first. And this is a story that has sort of a very convoluted plot.
Convoluted plot, to say the least.
It starts out as a mistaken identity movie, then it kind of turns into a kidnapper movie, and then it sort of all culminates with the characters, I guess, basically nobody really having any hand in this convoluted situation, and it just sort of resolves itself naturally.
Hey, look, man, all I care about is that the dude got a rug, man. That was the whole point, man, because that rug really tied the room together.
It absolutely did.
And you know, his rug was micturated upon. He was done wrong, but it was made right. And he got his rug, and at the end, like, man, we all knew the fucking bunny was full of shit. You know, one of my favorite questions in life has become, what would the dude do? Because the dude would totally have a beverage and do a J and just take it easy, man. Like, as far as an ethos goes, like, how much better could it be? I don't know what people may or may not have been looking for in an ending to that film. I don't know what kind of punch they wanted, but all I cared about was that the dude got his rug, man.
And the dude got a little bit more than a rug than we find out because there's they flat out say there's a little Lebowski on the way. That's one of the last messages we get from our wonderful narrator. Thumbs up, thumbs down on the idea because this has been speculated for a long time. Should there be a Big Lebowski sequel, maybe called The Little Lebowski, about the dude's son? I don't know how I feel about that.
The Coen Brothers, man, they're some special dudes, you know. So I would be curious to see what their vision would be for a little Lebowski. But he wouldn't be very little because at this point, Jeff Bridges is what, in his late 70s? Like little Lebowski would be a grown ass fucking man, you know, well into his 30s, I'd have to say at least. Is he a broken down? Who is he? Did he grow up rich and wealthy? And what's the story? What would they cook up? I actually, in their hands, I would be curious to see what they cook up. What would the story be? Is it this awkward thing where he meets his dad all these years later? Like what's the vision that they would have for this? Because a lot of the time, you know, sequels come along and they're trash, you know, they're garbage. But this sequel and being able to see some of those characters brought back and to see, you know, where Jeff Lebowski is now, all these, you know, decades later. The dude, about, you know, Jeff Lebowski's dead probably, but you know where the dude is. What's Walter got going on? Did the Jesus ever go back to jail for being a PDF, a pederast?
I'm not kidding, dude. 8-year-olds. And you know, this movie comes out in 1998, but it is set sort of in the early 90s, early or late 80s. So I feel like, you know, you could try to do a throwback picture. Well, obviously that would kind of mess up the casting a little bit. But yeah, might be a little late at this point. Jeff Bridges 77. So yeah, that is definitely an older dude, but who knows, maybe a lot more relaxed and chill. I really enjoy the plot of this movie. I can't say that it's the strongest part of the movie. For me, I think the characters and the performances are. But like I mentioned, case of mistaken identity. I'm curious, is there ever been a time in your career running all over the world, traveling, that you've experienced itty cases of mistaken identity? Maybe with yourself or any of the other boys, maybe any mix-ups?
Oh man, I would lie all the time. People would come up. Are you a wrestler? Yes. Which one? And I would just say Shelton Benjamin or Bobby Lashley. Oh, really? Wow. And I just, you know, would say all these crazy things. And then these people go off and be like, I met a wrestler named Bobby Lashley today, and he's into crocheting.
Less mistaken identity, more you're assuming the identity of your friends. I love it.
In those cases, I had sometimes, well, here was something fun that happened. People all the time will recognize me, but they're scared to be wrong.
Okay.
So instead of saying, "Hey, are you MVP?" they'll be like, I'll have people come up to me and go, "Man, you look real familiar, man. You look real familiar." And when they do that, my response is always, "Yeah, I get that a lot." Or, "Man, do I know you from somewhere?" I'm like, I don't know. Or, "Are you who I think you are?" It depends on who you think I am.
Yeah, that's an open-ended one.
So, but if people come up and go, "Oh man, are you MVP?" Yes, I am. But when people kind of beat around the bush, like, I'm not going to sit here and go, "Yes, I'm MVP." But you know, if you think I'm MVP, so this guy, I was at remember that group, the Toadies?
I do, yeah.
I was at a Toadies concert some years ago, in out here in Old Town Spring at this like festival, and this guy told me, "Man, you watch wrestling?" I said, "Not really." And he goes, "Man, you look just like this wrestler. His name's MVP." I said, "Dude, I hear that all the time, man. Like, and people always tell me that." And he goes, "Yeah, man, you look just like him, bro. That's crazy, man." I said, "Yeah, I get that a lot, man. Maybe I should start wrestling and get a job as his brother or something." And the guy's, "Yeah, man." And we proceed to have a 15, 20-minute conversation. And he's telling me all about wrestling. And he's telling me about the different characters and the plots. And he's telling me this whole thing about this guy MVP and this guy Matt Hardy. And that Matt Hardy was trying to win the title from him. But MVP was like scared. So he did. And he's giving me the whole, and I'm like, oh. So this is how this. Oh, okay. And then what happened? And I'm thinking like this guy really doesn't realize he's talking to MVP, but he's such a huge fan, but he doesn't realize he's talking to MVP. And I've always wondered if years later, if he ever figured it out, if it ever dawned on him, like, that son of a bitch had me going the whole time.
See, I figured there was going to be a spin that, like, it turns out you were talking to Dave Meltzer or something, and he was like, you look a lot like.
Yeah. I wouldn't have spent that much time exchanging words with. Yeah.
You would have recognized him, yeah, and you would have been like, I'm good, actually. I got to go over here.
Nah, he would have recognized the backhand or something. I despise that dude.
That is another thing I wanted to ask. I brought up the Hurt Syndicate earlier. I'm curious, is there a world, and I know you guys don't live in the same city, so this could be difficult, but if you did, is there a Hurt Syndicate bowling team maybe that pops up somewhere?
Oh, man.
I think you guys could kill it on the lanes.
It'd be one of those things where the scene on the Millennium Falcon when they're playing chess with Chewbacca, Han Solo says, let them win. Because Wookiees are known to pull arms out of sockets, shoulders out of sockets when they get angry or something like that. So I think people would just see us bowling, and whether we were bowling well or bowling poorly, I think we would just win anyway.
I think so, yeah. If the Jesus sort of walked over and was trying to...
Jesus would never in a million years walk up to us and tell us he was going to fuck us up the ass. That would never happen.
Characters and performances is what I want to talk to you a little bit about, because this movie is very ripe with a lot of characters and performances, and I want to tease a little recasting game I'm going to play with you in a minute as well, because there's a little asterisk, but we're going to do some recasting of the Big Lebowski in here in a minute. But otherwise, I mean, obviously we've talked about the dude, we've talked about the main three, but this really is a fun kind of time capsule cast. You have Philip Seymour Hoffman in a supporting role, Tara Reid.
He's always great. Everything he does.
He's incredible. That laugh he does in this movie where he's just like...
Oh, man. our little Lebowskis.
And we're so proud of you, Bunny. Yeah, he's very, very funny. And I don't know, kind of reluctantly. He's just always very scared and unsure. He's amazing. Tara Reid, who again in the late 90s was sort of all over the place. I don't even know if kids today know who a Tara Reid was. I don't know. Now I feel like I'm saying again her pro wrestling name, Tara Reid.
Yeah, right. Tara.
Julianne Moore as well as Maud Lebowski. So before we get into the recasting, though, I just kind of want to give you the floor to maybe talk about some of the characters, the cast, maybe gush a little about some of your other favorite characters aside from the dude.
Hold on, first I just have to get this out. Vagina. That's all. That's all.
You've got to make it clear that it does not make you uncomfortable. And I love that she has like a weird accent. That's not really
right, yeah,
or anything.
It's weird accent. What is that accent? It's not like is it like a version of the old 40s and 50s mid-Atlantic accent,
Right. And her father, who we spend most of the movie with, doesn't sound like that at all. So there's
not even a little bit.
The Big Lebowski himself, played by...
Oh, well, maybe that's because she was sent away to boarding school in Europe or something.
There you go. She brought it back home with her. The Big Lebowski himself, though, played by David Huddleston, who just great performance in this sort of crotchety old white guy that somehow represents like every crotchety old white guy.
I'd learned from the Coen Brothers and from David Huddleston's character the word micturiate. Micturiate. I had to go look that up. Anytime a rug is micturated upon, what is that word? That word has been forever added to my vocabulary.
Yeah, you could definitely work that into a promo. Like tell someone you're going to micturate all over them, and that might really get them a little, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't. When the Hurt Syndicate hits the ring, I see you guys micturating upon yourselves in fear. Go look, there we go, boom.
Boom. See, you're the pro.
You've micturated your pants in fear. But like every single character, every character is a character. The dude's landlord, his quintet, or what he had in.
His character is literally called the dude's landlord. I was trying to look up his name, but yeah, his dance recital that he does.
Yeah. And then that's crazy. Like the dude is obviously broke. He's writing a check for fucking milk so he can make his White Russians, and he's probably gonna bounce that check. He doesn't have money. He doesn't have rent. He's smoking roaches. You know, he's got a shitty old car, but he's not bothered by anything, man. Like nothing. He's not worried.
No.
I'm not worried that I'm gonna get put out of my place. I'm not worried. I'm just gonna light some candles, lay in the tub, smoke one of these roaches, do some Tai Chi on my rug, listen to Credence. Like, what a life.
Listen to some whale sounds. I mean, come on. There's nothing better than that. And also, what I love about the dude is because he is kind of presented as this pacifist. Any attempt he tries to make to be aggressive or even like offensive, it just fails. The best example being when he nails the 2x4 down because he wants to put this chair up to sort of block people from coming in. And as soon as he finishes the project, we see the door opens the other way, and the guy just opens the door anyway, and the chair falls. And yeah, it's just the dude is totally at peace when he doesn't need a lot. He just needs a little bit. Shit's always going to come at you. Like, no matter how chill you are, it'll always find you. And this is sort of what the I don't know, a lot of what moves the movie forward is obviously just this cool guy trying to be cool and people just throwing marmots in his bathtub.
The characters are what make this movie. The asinine point of the plot, you know, is with these asinine characters is what puts it all together. And you know, whether you're watching the legendary punk funk bassist Flea play a German with the nihilists, or seeing a Bokeem Woodbine without a speaking role as one of Maud's, I don't know, her little boy toys. I'm not sure what those characters were.
Yeah.
But like there was all these little aspects of the film that are just fun. And there's the philosophy there when when Walter's going into his and the dude, we just take it easy, man. Just to all this Walter's, am I the only one who gives a fuck about the rules? Like, Walter, just take it easy, man.
Calmer than you are, dude.
And we could all tear a page out of the Dudist playbook and just take it easy. If we all took it easy, how much better? I mean, literally, if all of us just said, you know what, man, today I'm just gonna take it easy. How much better would we all be off? Like, what would the dude do? He would just take it easy, man. So we talked a bit about this recasting.
Yes.
Using people from the Wrestleverse.
I think that's the way we play it here, because if I'm giving you the reins to recast this, I got to go with the people you know best. So I'm going to name a character. You tell me who you're going to cast in there, obviously from the world of pro wrestling. I think we start with the narrator, this sort of godlike cowboy.
That's Bret Hart.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I got Bret Hart doing the narrating. I could see Bret Hart doing that, sitting at the bar.
The lonesome dove himself, Bret Hart. Up next, then, I want to ask, how about Bunny? Tara Reid is who originally played. There's a lot of pro wrestling ladies out there who could slip into this one.
For my era, I would say first right away, Kelly Kelly.
I kind of thought that might be who you went with. Yeah, that seems like a layup there. And well, let me ask you this. This is a bonus question. I'm catching off guard. Okay, Kelly Kelly is Bunny. Whose toe are you cutting off and sending someone to make them think it's Bunny? So it's not Kelly Kelly. It's the diva who you would cut off one of her toes.
That's what I was trying to think. Like, who would be the chick that would be like, I'm down. We're gonna get this money. Go ahead and take a toe. That would be like ODB.
I love it.
ODB would be like, how much am I gonna get?
Yeah.
All right, you can have one toe.
Kelly Kelly for Bunny, ODB for Bunny's toe. Next up, Maud Lebowski, obviously played by Julianne Moore originally. Who do we slide in there now?
Man, who do we slide into the Maud Lebowski role?
This is one of the tougher ones.
Yeah, who would be Maud Lebowski? A slightly more mature figure, cultured,
but fierce, kind of demanding, or not demanding.
Right.
Yeah.
No, commanding. Commanding. I would say we could try. You know who comes to mind? Ivory.
Yeah, because she definitely she's got the chops, you know. She could be very serious, but she's very funny. You know, she came from the world of Glow, which was all female, so
Hi, gals. Tina Ferrari here with another tip on how to get the man you want.
you know, again, the vaginal strength is strong. The Ivory, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Or hold on. You know who might be a great Maud Lebowski? Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch. See, that's where my head was going. The redhead, Becky Lynch. Well, I gotta ask you, what about a Tony Storm? I know she's you share
Oh, Tony Storm is 1000% Maud Lebowski. Yeah, just scratch everywhere. Tony Storm is Maud Lebowski. Tony Storm, absolutely, yes. Tony Storm, I cast her as Maud Lebowski, 1000%.
I mean, she's good enough. She could probably play just about any character in this movie. I feel like she would
Literally, any character, yeah. She could play any, but yes, she would be a marvelous Maud Lebowski. How did I not think of her first?
But I like Ivory and Becky. Those are great. Those are great choices. So maybe some stand-ins. All right. Well, how about Maud Lebowski's dad, the Big Lebowski himself? Who do you put in the chair?
You know, at first, I was thinking that Jeffrey Lebowski would be wonderfully depicted by one Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, maybe we might have to switch that.
Okay.
And because I think Paul Heyman might actually be a fun person to cast as Jackie Treehorn. Jackie Treehorn. Wouldn't Paul Heyman be a fun Jackie Treehorn?
Oh, he would be great. He would be, and I could definitely, because he used to have the Heyman Hustle. I mean, maybe he still does, but it was a YouTube channel that I think had some adult film stars on there. So that makes
yeah, he was plugged into that scene. The Heyman Hustle. Yeah, I think I would cast Paul Heyman as Jackie Treehorn, and as the Big Lebowski. How about in the role of the Big Lebowski, we do Jim Cornette.
That's amazing. Did you do what your parents didn't get a job? Yeah. Well, now we're in the big three. Let's start with Donnie. I'm curious, who do you sub in for Steve Buscemi?
Oh man, Steve Buscemi. Who's Donnie? Shut the fuck up, Donnie. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of the guys that have that demeanor that, you can curse them out, and they wouldn't even be offended by it. It would just flow right over their head. Like there's not a lot of guys in the locker room you could say, man, shut the fuck up. And there's not, well, who the fuck you talking to like that? You know, it's just.
Of course. Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. There are some guys that you could say that to, and they would just be oblivious to it, and just kind of smile, laugh it off. Oh man, you know who would be, and this is gonna be crazy because it's such a juxtaposition of presence, but I would have Abyss in the role of Donnie.
Abyss, I love it. Now, are we going Abyss or Joseph Park?
The guy that I know, Chris, the guy that I know as Abyss, put him with his huge size, but playing that Donnie character would be even better. Phone's ringing, dude.
By the way, I said the top three, and I did forget. I got to put one more in there. What about the Jesus?
My first choice would be the late Eddie Guerrero.
Love it.
For the Jesus, but. Then I thought, well, what about maybe Chavo Guerrero? But then I thought, no. Carlito Colon.
Oh.
Carlito Colon is the Jesus.
I love it. Carlito. That's amazing. He's such a funny guy. I was thinking maybe like a Santino, but I feel like Santino Marella, but he's always so silly. I feel like you wanna give somebody like an opportunity to maybe kind of do something a little different. I really like Carlito there. That's perfect. Carlito
Well,
Colon.
no, I think Santino has to be the leader of the nihilists.
That's perfect.
Santino, Santino's Klaus.
No, known as Nihilist Number One is what his character's name is. If anybody's curious, Flea, who we mentioned earlier, Nihilist Number Two. I love that. Santino is Nihilist Number One. All right, well that we've only got two left, so these are the big ones. John Goodman plays Walter Sobchak. Who you swapping it?
JB motherfucking L. JBL is Walter Sobchak right away.
No hesitation. I love it. JBL, JBL telling Joseph Park to shut the fuck up would be very good. Would be very funny. All right, well that brings us
Fuck up, Abyss.
in his big hat. The dude, the man himself. Who are we putting in there to take over the lead? This is tough because again, as I mentioned, he's a pacifist. You don't have a lot of pacifist pro wrestlers. That's kind of a difficult thing to balance.
You don't. And like one of the first people that comes to mind is Bryan Danielson. He would be like the ultimate dude, but Bryan doesn't take drinks, nor does he partake of smoke.
I see.
So while I think he could totally be the dude, there's a little bit of
a disconnect.
yeah, and because he's a vegan, and I mean he's got the disposition, but he's just a few elements that are missing. So who would be a dude? I mean, and you might want to go to Riddle,
Sure.
you see Riddle, but Riddle's not a pacifist. He's an MMA fighter that could kick your ass
Yeah.
violently. Who would make a good? I mean, and this is like key casting. Like, who is the dude?
Let me ask you, and I'm going to throw this out there. I want to get your thoughts and see, keeping it in the namesake, what about a Jeff Hardy?
Totally be the dude. Yeah. Jeff Hardy as the dude. Jeff, yeah, smoking a J.
Right?
Jeff wasn't much of a smoker per se, but he'd toke a J and then have a. I mean, Jeff doesn't drink anymore, but
Sure.
careful, there's a beverage here, man. Yeah, I could totally see Jeff Hardy nailing the Big Lebowski.
And I feel like you could probably see him hanging out with like JBL and Abyss. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a dynamic there between the three of them that just kind of makes sense. Like, it kind of works. They all cross paths at similar times.
Yeah, no, that would work. That would work 100%. Yeah, man. Yeah, fuck Jeff Hardy is the dude.
Jeff Hardy's in. Well, we have a full cast there. This is a lineup. We've got Bret Hart stepping in, playing the narrator. Kelly playing Bunny. We have Tony Storm as Maude Lebowski. Jackie Treehorn would be played by the great Paul Heyman. Jim Cornette would come in and play the Big Lebowski himself, which I feel like Jim Cornette would love that, by the way. I don't know. I have a feeling Jim Cornette liked the Big Lebowski. Maybe we'll find out. Donnie would be played by Abyss or Joseph Park. Carlito Colon would come in to play the Jesus, and we would have John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL as Walter, and Jeff Hardy is the dude. It's a hell of a cast right there, man. I'm going to see that movie. I'll tell you that much.
No, I like that a lot. That works well. I'm proud of myself. But hey, that Jeff Hardy casting, that was hard, man. That because I was coming up blank, and you came with a fastball right down the middle. Bam, Jeff Hardy as the dude.
Hey, look, if the Hurt Syndicate ever needs a lion added to the lineup, I'm your guy. Okay, this is what I'm here to do. I may only come in every once in a while, but if you need a suggestion for some fake recasting, Al's your guy. Okay. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the visual storytelling in this movie because it's for the most part, very straightforward, very, I don't want to say basic, but again, very straightforward. There is a really fun, like, dream sequence. I mean, it's definitely Jackie Treehorn has drugged the dude. He's out. But we get this kind of big Bugsy Berkeley, musical style with the Saddam Hussein giving the dude his shoes on this kind of giant shoe rack that goes all the way up to the moon.
Just checked in to see what condition my condition was in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, until the Big Lebowski, I didn't even know that Kenny Rogers, that was a Kenny Rogers song. And I thought, yo, that, I had never heard of that song, but I love that. What condition is my condition in? Like, and do I need to smoke some more to get into the condition I need to be in, to get my condition into the condition it needs to be in?
It's so good. It's it really is like,
Yeah, that song is great. And like I remember sitting there watching that and thinking like, who dreamed this whole sequence up? Like who thought let's put this vaudevillian Kaja Fall whatever sequence into this movie. The dancers, the like what kind of blotter tabs were they on?
we said earlier, like, you could call the plot convoluted, and I don't mind saying that because I think it was, again, designed to be. But another word for that is just completely unpredictable. And when you get, I mean, this is like towards the end of the second act that this sequence plays out, and it just injects so much color and character and like energy sort of back in. And not to say that the story's slumping, but it is nearing its resolution. And again, just so rarely do you spend a movie in what is a very kind of, it feels really authentic in terms of the bowling alley and the dude's apartment. That it's all real world, and then you get blasted off to this fantasy sequence that is completely unique to the movie, but also feels very kind of familiar to things that we've seen before. And that's what I think the Coen Brothers do really, really well in their movies, is they present visuals, they present characters that you'd never see in any other movie, even in any other Coen Brothers movies. I mentioned the Farrelly brothers earlier. I feel like you could see the cast of Something About Mary maybe pop up in Kingpin. It feels like there could be some crossover there. The Coen Brothers movies, you would never see the cast of The Big Lebowski and No Country for Old Men. Like, these are completely different tones. But No Country has Anton Chigurh, these really distinct characters. And then The Big Lebowski, again, everybody from Maud to the dude, just down to the landlord. Like, everyone is really memorable. Everybody's so, I don't know why Walter has a vest on, like a fishing vest all the time.
Yeah, right.
Just always is in this fishing vest. I would be remiss too if I didn't mention here, Jeff Bridges wears a kind of baseball shirt with a Japanese ball player on it. And
Yeah.
It's become kind of a famous shirt because he's worn that in 2 other movies that he's been in. And apparently that is just a shirt Jeff Bridges has owned and occasionally would wear to set. And it is itself now made it in 3 Jeff Bridges movies. I may or may not have once owned a version of that shirt.
It's funny. I'm thinking about that baseball shirt. I got a collar and elbow shirt. It's like that baseball shirt, but also pro wrestling on it. So similar. When I think the Big Lebowski, the first image that is in my mind, the image that immediately pops into my mind is Jeff Bridges standing on his rug with a White Russian in his hand doing Tai Chi. That's the image I see. That's it. That's the thumbnail in my head. If I hear Big Lebowski, that's what pops up.
Sort of like overhead shot, and you can kind of see that the dude's apartment has just been kind of wrecked. So he's doing Tai Chi like right kind of in the middle of this chaos that's become of his world. So yeah, it's a really
You're just taking it easy.
Now I do want to ask you really quickly. Obviously, the dude and Walter, you might say they're sort of sidekicks to each other. You told me a story about the term sidekick, a friend of yours, a little thing that went down in an airport. I selfishly would love to have you tell this story on the show.
Pretty sure it was Cleveland. It was me, and I remember who was with us. It was myself, Rey Mysterio. I'm pretty sure Dolph Ziggler. I'm pretty sure The Miz was with us. And we're on a movie walkway, and we're just shooting the shit. And some guy comes walking through, and he makes some kind of a comment about, left one side is walk, one side is stand or whatever. And he was, real rude about it. And this kind of blew him off. And then once he got a good little distance away, he said some slick ass comment, like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but something about, that ended with the word bitch. Like, my initial reaction was like, fuck you, man. You saying that shit from way over there. But as that moving walkway went along, that word started to weigh on me a little bit heavier. You didn't just call me a bitch and walk away. Like, Ray started like, stoking the fire a little bit jokingly, like, damn, man, that dude just called you a bitch, man. Then he said, like, yeah, we're going to see that dude when we get over there by baggage claim. So when we get to baggage claim, I'm looking around and he's nowhere to be seen at baggage claim. It turns out the guy actually got nervous and went outside to go hide. And Ray,
he smartened up is what he did. He smartened up.
Yeah, Ray is one of the nicest human beings on the planet. Like Ray, I would nominate him for sainthood. But this day he was, just joking around. He's the little demon on my other shoulder, and he goes outside and he goes, "P, he's outside. He's outside." So I walk out there, and sure enough, the guy's like, kind of like on the other side of a column, pushed in as far as he could possibly be to try to hide.
Like Bugs Bunny hiding behind like a skinny tree.
And I walk up to the guy, and I said, "Hey, man, I'm inside. You seemed like you had some shit you wanted to say. Here I am. We can continue that conversation." And Ray's standing there, and I think back then he was playing around with Black and Milds.
Mm.
And I feel like he was standing there with this little hat on, and the tip of a Black and Mild, like, between his clenched teeth, looking like a little mafiosi gangster. And the guy looks over at Ray and he goes, well, "What are you supposed to be, a sidekick?" And Ray goes, nah, homie, I'm just here peeping game." And I asked the dude again. I said, "Yeah, man, you had all that shit you wanted to say inside. Like, you want to step over here and finish that conversation?" And then I noticed he steps out from behind the column a little bit more emboldened. And he goes, "Man, fuck you, bitch. What do you want to do? What do you want to do about it, huh?" And I'm taken aback by his sudden bravery and courage. Yeah. And then I hear a stern voice from behind me go, "Hey, what's going on over here?" And I look over, and there's a cop that's walking up. So as soon as the guy saw the cop walk up, he started dropping bitch bombs again, and he got real courageous. But to this day, me and Rey Mysterio, who I spoke to this morning, he is, if you ever find my phone, or if you ever steal my phone, Rey Mysterio is in my phone under Sidekick.
I had to ask about that because I've heard that story before and I love it. I think it's very, very funny. And if we're talking again, John Goodman to Jeff Bridges, there's a Sidekick duo. If ever I needed to cram a story or a reason to have a story, that's what I'm going with. Look, we talked about use of sound basically because we were talking about the music and we were talking about the Kenny Rogers song. Overall, like I love this soundtrack. I feel like there's a ton that has to get dissected here, but I feel like I'm probably not going too far out of line by saying, I assume you're a fan of the soundtrack of The Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah. It's a great soundtrack. We have to talk about the dude's hatred of the Eagles.
I was going to say, what's your stance on the Eagles MVP?
I don't really love the Eagles,
Sure.
but I don't hate the Eagles.
You wouldn't get thrown out of a cab if the guy was listening to
No, the guy's playing the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles, I'd probably just bop along. It also depends on what song is playing too. Because let's face it, some Eagles songs are way better than some others.
Is there maybe a musical group that's that way for you? That's just like, oh my God, as soon as they come on, you're just like, I gotta plug my ears or get out of here.
Let's see, because man, I love so much music.
Same with movies. When people ask me sometimes, they're like, what's the worst movie you ever saw? I'm like, I only remember the good stuff. So yeah, I do recognize that's kind of an unfair question. Like, what's music you hate?
I'm sure there's at least one band that if I am like, oh man, get the fuck out of here with that shit. It's probably gonna be like some hair metal band or some shit. Primarily the vocals that I don't like. Music wise, they're pretty good, but I've never been a Motley Crue fan. I don't really get Motley Crue's appeal.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's a good choice. I could see that.
So yeah, I could see me being like, oh man, could turn off that fucking Motley Crue, man. Please, man, put on some Steely Dan.
Exactly. Nothing beats the Steely Dan.
I mean, I like Creedence, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I like Creedence. I like Creedence more than I like Motley Crue. At one point, there was a brief period where I was in full dude mode, but my version of the dude. And it was several years ago when I had become immersed in the Big Lebowski. And I would go to like late night shopping trips to Walmart wearing, and you might have to look this up, but a jinbei, which is like a Japanese short set that they wear in the summertime. I got on some black, like ninja tabby shoes. And the jinbei is like kind of, it ties. It's definitely not a bathrobe, but it kind of hangs like one on top with shorts. And I'm smoking a joint and listening to Steely Dan and going to like Walmart late at night to get, you know, something I need for my munchies or some shit. And I'm like an urban version of the dude, except we can sub Steely Dan for Creedence. I was drinking a lot of White Russians too, just because, like, yeah, man, let me have a White Russian in honor of the dude.
It's an easy drink to drink. I once went to a Lebowski fest, and for some reason we decided as like a drinking game. I don't remember. It was like whenever time someone got a strike, because it was at a bowling alley, we would run out to the parking lot and make a White Russian and drink it. You do not want to leave the ingredients for a White Russian in a Florida parking lot. That is not the place to make. Yeah, so we got a few in, and then all of a sudden we realized, yeah, let's stick to the $20 White Russians at the bar, the bowling alley serving. But it is a solid drink at the right temperature. No, but I love that look. I would assume you probably had a better car than the dude as well.
I was in a much better financial place than the dude was. Yeah. I was pulling up in a Mercedes, so I don't know if that disqualifies me.
No, like you said, it's a kind of an evolved version of the dude. Well, finally, we talk about themes on the show when we're wrapping up a movie, and it's been really awesome getting to dissect this movie with you. And as convoluted as the plot is, I don't know, I feel like I was trying to think of a solid theme that really comes through, other than like confusion. And I don't mean that from the audience standpoint, but all of the characters at all points are kind of confused about what's going on. But such is kind of life. I feel like everybody's always just sort of got their own idea about what's going on, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're completely off the mark.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I'm always preaching the gospel of the Big Lebowski. I am a certified dudist, and in certain states, I am recognized as a member of the clergy, and I can conduct a wedding service. And if somebody is listening to this and they would like me to reside over their nuptials as a dudist, I'll charge you a first-class airfare, a hotel, and an unlimited supply of White Russians and joints. And that'll be my fee.
This is incredible, by the way. That's some breaking news. I don't know if you've advertised that on any other podcast, so I feel very special. We'll make sure.
Yeah, I have not. I have not yet. So this is definitely hot off the presses breaking news. Exclusive to you. If I were to sum up the Big Lebowski, well, what is this movie about? It's about the dude. It's a case of mistaken identity. It's some Keystone Coppers hijinks, caper gone awry, and it's a blend of a bunch of really bizarre characters all coming together to tell this ridiculously funny story that either you'll get and absolutely fall in love with, or not get and go, I don't get what everybody's into this shit for. I guess that's the way I would summarize it.
It's definitely kind of a polarizing film, but like all great polarizing films, when you find out someone else loves it too, it's like a handshake. You know, it's like you're like, all right, this person's got to be kind of cool. I was very excited when you want to talk about the Big Lebowski and when you mentioned that it's one of your favorite movies many years ago. I was very excited because it's long been one of mine. Can I ask maybe what a couple other of your favorite movies are? If you recently watched the Big Lebowski and you want to put on another favorite, what are some things that are coming to mind?
I would say another like all-time favorite of mine, like that I'm fanatical about, like the Big Lebowski, is uh Blade Runner.
Oh, of course.
I actually have every version of Blade Runner. I have the theatrical cut, the director's cut, the final cut. I have them all. And even though Harrison Ford hates it and Ridley Scott doesn't like it, the original theatrical film noir release with Harrison Ford's
The
um,
narration.
uninspired narration where he's doing the voiceover. I love it because it has that Mike Hammer or Philip Marlowe hard-boiled detective film noir feel to it. In this dystopian future. Um, that's my favorite cut, and people go like, "What?" But um, Blade Runner is one of my all-time favorite films. I've seen that film double digits. Um,
Such a good choice. God, I love that movie.
yeah, and then Blade Runner 2049 was brilliant as well.
Oh,
I
so
thought,
you can't even say which is better because they're very different movies, but they're so good. Like they're so beautiful and perfect. And I remember seeing 2049 in the theaters and just kind of like sitting there when it was over, being like, I can't believe I like this much. Like this is could it be this good? I went back a few days later and saw it, and oh yeah, no, yeah, such a good movie.
yeah, I've watched that one a few times as well, and man, the performance that Ryan Gosling, man, the performance that he turns in is fucking brilliant, man. Like he's great. He does a magnificent job with his, just when he starts to believe that he might actually be human. You know, could it be that he's not a replicant? And just the brilliance of what is human? Does self awareness make us human? And
Right.
do we have the right to play God? Like so many questions. And I think that this absolutely. And I've read the Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? And the book is always better than the movie. But in this case, like what Ridley Scott did with the film was just absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, Blade Runner is one that I put right up there with the Big Lebowski. Strangely enough, that I put up there too is The Warriors.
Oh yeah, classic.
Saul Urich. That film is just my son and I watched it recently.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and he loves it. He thinks it's awesome. And I mean, just the way it was lit, the lighting, and as we have a mutual friend who does has to do shoot scenes around New York, so he has to know about lighting and placement and whatnot. And uh, when you go back and you watch the Warriors, and then if you take time to listen to the versions that have
The commentary. Yeah, yeah.
when you talk about like how they had to like hang trees in the lights and like hose down the street for continuity because it was supposed to be raining, and there's all of these aspects to it that just make it that much more fun visually, considering most of it was shot at night on the
Yeah.
subway platform and in parks and in the alley, and then these colorful gangs that they just made up to for this story. So yeah, those are a couple of my like all-time favorite films that I can watch over and over and over. And all this anything Sergio Leone made, all the spaghetti westerns,
Oh yeah.
Fist of the Dollars for a few dollars more, all of that shit. I like those a lot as well. So
Well, these are S tier picks, and I'll let you know the Jungle Studio here we're in. We're like 10 minutes from Coney Island, which is where the Warriors takes place. So yeah, we're on the same street where they shot some of the exteriors for Saturday Night Fever, and we're like 10 minutes from where they shot the Warriors, or at least the majority of it. So that's extra points there at the end for shouting out the Warriors. I love it. Well, the last question I have for you, because you mentioned you showed your son the Warriors recently. As a father, as a certified dudist, when do you show your son The Big Lebowski? Have you thought about this yet?
I will see, because he's 11 now. So we watch a lot of action movies, a lot of horror movies, and I let him watch a lot of movies that most parents wouldn't let their kids watch at a young age. But I feel like that's where parental guidance comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Eh, My mom didn't trip about the movies that we watched when we were kids, and for the most part, I turned out okay. For the most part, so I'll let him watch really gory, violent martial arts films, and then but we talk about it.
Yeah.
Um, and he loves the Aliens franchise from we watched every Aliens film together.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
watched every Predators film together. He loves all the Alien versus Predator. When he found out that existed, oh my god, yeah, that was something. Um, we've if you ask him, he can talk to you about 80s action flicks. He can talk to you about Die Hard. He can talk to you about Commando. We've watched all the Rambo movies. Like he knows 80s action flicks. But the Big Lebowski, I think, is one I'll wait either till he's a little bit older, at least maybe when he's a teenager, when he starts smoking weed and thinks I don't know it. Then then maybe that's the time when hey, come watch this. Let's smoke a joint. Come watch this movie with me.
I think that's a good play. Maybe if he comes home someday with like a suitcase full of someone's underwear, you'll be like, all right, it's time we watch this movie. I discovered this one in high school. I would have been a little bit older because I had started doing comedy. I remember, and this used to play like after midnight on Comedy Central, so it was uncensored. And I think that's when I saw it for the first time, if I recall. I would have been coming home late, and yeah, so I was probably like 17, 18, and man, I loved it, and I was super into it. So yeah, it feels like, and especially, I mean, my God, not that I ever smoked a joint with my dad, but if I did, it would have been great to do it over the Big Lebowski. So I feel like you got it. I feel like you got it all planned out. You got a good plan.
Yeah, that's the general idea. We do have the opportunity to sit together and smoke a joint and watch the Big Lebowski. I'll buzz you and I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh, I love it. The follow up is required. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. Again, I know how busy you are. You've got your own podcast that everybody's got to go check out. I love it. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I'm saying that because you and your other sidekick, Dwayne Swayze, who's an awesome co-host. I've had the pleasure of chatting with Dwayne before, and he's such a good dude. Like seriously, one of the coolest, sweetest guys. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, but he is. He's such a good dude. And so you guys together, it's a great dynamic. Obviously, we get to hear about all sorts of stories from your career, but you have an awesome guest too from the world of pro wrestling. So if you're interested in music, in pro wrestling, in just general philosophy in life, you should absolutely check out.
Marking out with MVP and Dwayne Swayze.
Oh, it's solid, and of course you can see MVP and the rest of the Hurt Syndicate twice a week. You guys are holding it down. You're all over the place on TBS and TNT and it even went Paramount Plus. I think. Am I again? If I'm not botching it off the top of my head.
Yeah, AEW Dynamite. Sometimes we pop up on Collision and MVP Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, were formerly of the Hurt Business, reunited as the Hurt Syndicate. Still kicking ass and not taking time to write down names.
I love it, and I don't mind saying again, since you boys showed up, easily my favorite part of the AEW product. Always delivers great matches, great promos from yourself, and what a great chat this was. So thank you so much for coming to the jungle, talking to Big Lebowski.
I've never spent this much time chatting with a lion before, and I just I consider myself a tiger in my own right. I feel like I'm kind of like that tiger moving by myself through the Bengal forest, Bengal jungle, Bengal Siberian. I don't know.
The Bengal Bush, perhaps.
The Bengal bush. Okay, all right.
When in doubt, use alliteration. I think that's what I always go for.
Never goes wrong. Never goes wrong. Okay, Albert, you farewell.
Hey, thanks for listening to this bonus episode of Real Talk. And if this is your first time hearing me, Albert the Movie Lion, then please hit subscribe and check out all of the episodes of Real Talk. We also have a spin-off series called Real Bites, where I review movies that recently were released in under 3 minutes. Thanks again for listening. And remember, if you're gonna talk movies, make sure it's Real Talk.
Wait, let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude, you know, that or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.